Hello everyone, I am back at it again making another Smash moveset video for another Hololive talent. Third one in a row it seems. Maybe I'll have to do something or someone else different next time. But like I said in the last video, this one is about Elizabeth Rose Bloodflame.
Roses are red, the fire of my heart is blue, also known as the Scarlet Queen, the harbinger of order and leader of justice. I am Elizabeth Rose Bloodflame.
Yes, not one exactly, because Nerissa was the last one, and then I was like, you know what, I'm getting some ideas for Elizabeth. Let me do this one instead. And to explain the footage in the background, it's just Project Plus footage, as I found out I could record Project Plus footage and the game wouldn't chug whatsoever. So I was like, fuck, let me use this. And that's why you're seeing me trying to practice Project Plus while looking at the OBS recording screen. And no one plays Project Plus where I'm from, but I like using Ike. So enjoy the practice footage. And in the meantime, I say let's go into how Elizabeth Rose Bloodflame would play out, shall we? No footage here seen in the background, as I want to get something off the record. Elizabeth would mostly play like one of those big swordie characters and not any of the regular swordies, like Marth or something akin to, like, let's say, me Sword Fighter. She would particularly fall into things like Pyra, Cloud, or Ike when it comes to those type of things, you know? You could put Byleth in there as a consideration if you want, but that's the type of attribute we're gonna go for. Not gonna give any particular description, as this general attribute, they all tend to kind of blend in when it comes to weight and stuff and fall speed. The only thing being a huge difference is just being the momentum. So keep that as is. And if you were to ask me what kind of momentum I think she'd have, would be a mix between just Ike's grounded speed in Project Plus, and with her air acceleration being a bit slower than Pyra's. I think this would be pretty good enough as is, but let's see how the rest of the moves would work. Now for Elizabeth Rose Bloodflame's jab, I'm going to take a bit of inspiration from a non-jab move. It's going to be inspired by Roy's double-edged dance seen in Project Plus / Project M, as seen in the video footage here, and by a bit of the mock-up sketch seen here. The reason I want her to have a jab like this is because I don't know if Liz has any thing enhancing her strength or anything, so I assume there's gotta be some moves where she'd use both her arms to carry Thorn around. And I just think, you know, it kind of packs a punch for what she wants to do, you know? She's the leader of justice. She has to pack a punch, you know? She has to threaten, basically, her enemies, her opponents, Advent as in general, you know? So, like, you know, she's gotta be quick with it. So I think her using the two hands for this would be pretty great. And it frees up the side special for what I'm planning to do with it. And I'll explain that when we get to the specials. But for now, let's just see what else we can do with her. And in this case, being her forward tilt. Her forward tilt is essentially going to be like Ike's. Yes, very bland, but with flame effects like Pyra. Not sure if Pyra does have the flame effects on her forward tilt. I've been hit with that move so many times in the killing spree that I kind of forget if it has the flame effect or not. It probably doesn't. I might be confusing it with Project Plus Roy move. Now that's a sort of fire that they gave the fire effects with. Take notes, Sakurai. But her up tilt also a bit of another Fire Emblem character, and this time it being like the classic overhead sweep that Roy has in P+ and Byleth has in Smash Ultimate. And this is just more like overhead. Nothing too much to say. But for her down tilt, I want her to use her legs instead of the sword this time. Like, she's holding onto the sword and then does like a kick to the bottom, you know? Like, a bit of a setup thing. Like, she's not gonna get low to hit you with the weapon. She wants to stand her ground, like she does in the idle pose she has. Not idle as in idle, I mean idle as in, standing still, you know? So she can do something with that. And this kind of breaks a bit of the norm because most down tilts come out from the crouching animation, so too the down smashes. But this is more like a why the heck not? Because I've seen HDR do this with Ganondorf where he's just standing, does down tilt, and then does like bam, ba, 2 double stomps there depending on how much you click the button. So I think this is pretty much alright. And I wanted to either send up or make it force a spike untechable like Peach and Daisy do with their down tilts, is what I was thinking for this particular move. And now let's go to the smash attacks. Now, for Elizabeth Rose Bloodflame smash attacks, they're going to feel plenty generic, in my opinion, because they won't have anything special tied to them. But at the same time, I want them to be a little bit different to all of the usual sword fighter-esque smash attacks. Let's start, shall we? For her up smash, I'm just thinking something similar to Sora. Not the same way that Marth does it in putting the sword up, or Roy, or Chrom, or Lucina. I mean, they all have it for Marth, so why am I mentioning it? But I wanted it to be a bit like Sora's. Or you could just go with Marth's, but it going a bit forward. Either one could work, honestly. But another one that's a bit more concise in all this would be her side smash. Which, honestly, it's just gonna be like Marth's F smash. But I wanted to hit hard. Like, imagine Banjo's F smash. He essentially has the same type of F smash that Marth has, just a little bit differently. You know, that type of F smash where you wind all the way back with one arm and then let that heavy weapon go down hard on the opponent. Obviously, this move would have a lot of lag, but it would be a pretty cool kill move. And something I do have in mind, if maybe adding this wouldn't be too overtuned, would be giving her a flame shock-ish wave. You know, like the same way King Dedede has a bit of a shock wave when he does his F smash. I would also like that for Elizabeth. And as for her down smash, something similar to the down tilt, but instead of her, you know, just doing one leg sweep, she does a whole turnaround 360 degrees with the sword slammed onto the ground. Inserted onto the ground, and then she does the spin with her kicks, you know? Like, she's a swordsman. She needs to be on her feet at all times, and if her down tilt didn't have her crouching like most do, then I think it's only fair if her down smash also doesn't have her crouching. It just makes sense, I'd say. But if not, you can just insert any heavy sword user smash attack a la Cloud or Ike. Maybe if you want to do it more similar to this move, Pyramithra down smash. But that's just what I'm thinking for this move in general. Now that we are done with all that, right? I say let's go to a nice and more simple-ish segment, this time being the aerial attacks. And yes, since she's a swordie, some of these will be kinda repeated. That's just kind of the curse that swordies have in platform fighters, I'd say. Or maybe not. You be the judge of that. Now for Elizabeth Rose Bloodflame's aerial attacks. Her first one would be her neutral air. This would essentially be similar to Ike's neutral air, or straight up just being a exact copy. Because it just kinda fits. Heck, you could argue that Hero has a sort of Ike Nair animation, and Clouds definitely has it inspired by his. But since Elizabeth doesn't have any super soldier or first class soldier thing in her, that's just pure strength, then I think Ike's animation would fit a lot nicer than Cloud's animation in this case. And, you know, I would also like it to have the functionality as seen in the description of this sketch here, to be similar to the way Ike uses his neutral air in Project M. Not the way it's used in Ultimate, where it's more like a ladder thing. If not, this is like a get off me, a continue comboing move. You know, it's basically more flexible, honestly. Because I've heard some people say that his Nair in Project Plus is better than it is for him in Ultimate. And I'm just inclined to agree. It also doesn't help that I just have Ike Project Plus footage playing in the background. But let's just get to the next moves, shall we? Now, for Elizabeth Rose Bloodflame's forward air. What I'm imagining is just something like Ganondorf, as Ganondorf shares his animation with Marth's forward air. So the GIF I'm showing on screen is of Marth, but I wanted to have like the power of Ganondorf. And this is already going into territory. Oh, her aerials are just similar to Ike's. And honestly, I'd say these are gonna be the ones that are gonna stay the most similar. And I'd argue that due to the way Ike's forward air is in Ultimate, I guess that's no longer the case. And so too for his Nair. But you could argue that, yes, this is similar to the P plus Ike iterations of those moves, or Brawl or Smash 4 iterations of those moves. But now let's get into something more interesting, as her up air does have the animation of Clouds, yeah? But I wanted to have something unique to it. Instead of it being just a sword hitbox, she's putting her sword Thorn up flat, as she produces fire throughout the whole thing to spread it evenly towards the opponent, as a bit of a drag down, I'd say, you know? To drag them down, or just finish with an explosive move, like it being a type of multi-hit. However you'd like to interpret this. And then something for that, right, to make it a bit more unique, I'm gonna show you her backwards aerial. Looks familiar? I got a bit inspired by Trunks, slicing up Frieza, you know, that shining sword attack move. But she's not really gonna do the shining sword attack move, she's just gonna do something similar to the end of the move, where Trunks just blasts Frieza. Yeah, I don't want to show like a clip, so just enjoy more P plus gameplay after showing you this one image of Trunks on the screen. But I think you get the idea. For her down air, yeah, this is another Dragon Ball reference. It's gonna be like a move similar to what Future Gohan had in Raging Blast 2, where if you press, in my case it was circle because I played it on a PlayStation 3, where he throws like a key blast down. I also don't want to show the clip, nor did I find a good image to show what I was looking for, nor do I know where to specifically look for that. I could use a clip from Omega 2040. Nah, I just want to show you this picture sketch because I drew Nerissa at the bottom taking the brunt of the blow, or about to take it, because, you know, Toxic Yuri and also, you know, their enemies. Hololive Justice versus Hololive Advent. So, I guess if she is in a situation, right, where she just wants to land or get the advantage on the opponent, this could be a good move for, like, oh, get off me or get away from me before, you know, getting safely onto the stage to reset the neutral. Which I think it could be pretty nice and unique. It would be similar to Mega Man's, yeah, but instead of it being like a big, heavy move, it'd just be like a short move there, you know, like short, weak. But obviously put some lag under it, because if there's no lag, this could be a pretty unfair move to deal against. But then again, Smash Ultimate exists, so I don't know what you want me to say here. Overall, I think her aerials would just be 2 aerials that are similar, then 1 that's like a hybrid of similar and unique, and then 2 that are just completely references to, like, Dragon Ball and stuff like that, you know? I guess I didn't think about it when making those moves, but now in retrospect it kind of makes sense, because great catastrophes and whatnot, and also just a bit of uniqueness there. But I don't know if Liz is a Dragon Ball fan or not. That's just me putting in those moves, because I was like, damn, these moves could really fit in. Plus the whole catastrophe thing. So make of it of what you will. How about we just go on to the grabs before I start yapping about this, shall we? Before we get into the territory of how would her grab animations look like, I'm just gonna get it out of the way. They would be standard swordie-esque grabs. So let's just go on to the regular grabs, shall we? The first one being forward throw, as the image shown here, I want her to hold the enemy up and then throw them forwards. And as for that move's usefulness, just getting them off you, it would be great at a ledge situation, honestly. If not, just resetting neutral into your favor. But not much, really. It would just be a stock standard grab. Wouldn't really throw forward in the same way that Marth and the clones do. If not, it's more like a more graceful throw into, you know, just a short throw, really, just to, you know, get them off you, but not much. Just to keep them in sort of your threat bubble or just outside of it, you know, so it'll be difficult for them to get in again. It could force a tech situation on a platform at a higher percent, though, with the angle being a bit diagonally up, I'd imagine. If not, it's just, you know, regular forward throw, just standard stuff. I also had a bit of a, how do you describe, a sort of a Ridley-esque thing going on with her grab, but not sure where I would put it, honestly. It would just be at the front, really, while she, you know, just stabs you forward and then throws you gracefully. But the more I thought about it, maybe not, to keep it simple, but at the same time, it would be nice to have, but I'm not sure if that's something Liz would do. And if it is something she would do, then, you know, that would be ruthless, which would add to the whole Justice, you know, needs to persevere over Advent, and the whole shtick and joke that maybe Justice is the real villains and Advent are the actual heroes and good guys. I don't know. Make of it what you will. But her back throw, I'm going to take a little bit of inspiration from what Falco does in his up throw, where there's a projectile going up when he throws you up. And this one, she would throw you backwards and then throw a bit of a fireball too. And don't forget, Mewtwo also has this type of thing in his forward throw as well. So I think something like this wouldn't be too out of character. She wouldn't even look at you, you know? It would just be the get you away from her, you know? Like, both of these grabs would have that sort of function to get you away from her or reset neutral. And in the case of the back throw, I imagine the fireball hit would stun the opponent long enough for the teammate that do something to take advantage of it. Like, I don't know, if your character has a spike, or if they have a move that kills extremely early but goes up, you know, like hitting with a tip or up smash like Marth has seen in this footage. I didn't kill with a tip or up smash in the footage, but just an example of what a character can do with it. Or if it goes a little bit up, then just Simon and Richter up smash. You know, just anything that kills upwards, really, or like an up B is what I imagine you could use back throw for it. You know, like a bit of an alley-oop situation. As we go to down throw, I have some explaining to do, as this one just has her throwing them violently to the ground. This is simply because I read somewhere that Liz knows martial arts. So I just decided, hey, why not have her throw them onto the ground? It would be funny. It would be funny, would be painful. Give it a lot of hit stun, you know? So if that's at a high percent, it can be deadly. I'm imagining like a fixed knockback type of deal. Just to hammer it in, you know? That she just slammed you onto the ground. You're probably unconscious with that, you know? And then up throw would be kinda the opposite, because it would just have her throw you up a bit, fits knockback for the second hit, where she does like an upwards kick. I don't know if this type of grab would be particularly good. If not, I think it would likely be a kill throw, simply because of the way it is. Think of it like, you know, just doing a grab into a Fatsuyoshi Min type of up smash with the bicycle kick. It'd be one of those, you know? And she'd use her sword to stand up, you know, in opposite, as a trying to do a handstand, but no, she's on her sword balancing herself as she kicks you all the way up into the blast zone. I think it would be a neat animation, but give it a bunch of lag, I'm imagining. So you'd have to use it if your shirt's gonna kill. If it doesn't, the opponent might have enough time to reset neutral, or if you're quick enough, or if the knockback was just enough, right, you could regain your composure. And give it a lot of low damage too, so the opponent can't really be spamming this. And honestly, you shouldn't be spamming your kill throws, unless you're someone like Incineroar or Ness, just a pressure. You know, it's just a thing. I don't know if that's actually a thing or not, but what I do know is a thing is this little thing. A unique throw that I think she should have only against Nerissa. To feed that toxic and tragic Yuri, she would be grabbing Nerissa through the horn and then hitting her with a headbutt before throwing her violently to any of the directions. The way I'm describing it could be a unique pummel, but honestly, I want it to be a unique grab throw. I don't know how this would work in a platform fighter, because you want the directions, but then that becomes a unique pummel instead of a unique throw. So if anyone has an idea right there in the comments to see how this would work, please let me know, because this is something that needs to happen. And maybe let Nerissa have a counterpart to this against Liz, where she just kisses her on the forehead before slapping her away softly. Like Elizabeth's would kill, Nerissa's would probably be something soft for a chase or something, because, you know, Nerissa being the Nerizzler, you know? We can't focus too much on Nerissa right now, because you know what's coming up next? The next section, which will be the special attacks. So let's get on with it. For Elizabeth Rose Bloodflame's neutral special, I had an idea of just making it like a sort of tea throw. If you catch my drift, she will warm up the bag of tea using the flame in her chest, right? The flame in her heart, and then just throwing them at the person. It'd be scalding hot tea, yeah, so let it have a bit of a poison effect like Joker has with his Aha or Ahagon. It'd be a pretty weak projectile dealing like 2% because, it's just tea, and the poison effect only lasting just a bit to give you an extra 5, so in total it'd be like, what, 7%? Not too strong, but it would travel a far distance, and I'm guessing the further it would travel, with the wind cooling down the tea, it would get colder and less scalding hot. So it'd be a lot easier for you to just take it, from far away instead of, from a close range, really. And that's what I just imagine what the neutral special would be like. And basically, to explain the tea, she's British. British stereotype. That had to be worked in somewhere. I mean, maybe you could change it into something a bit more character appropriate. But people love memeing on the British, so by the laws of the internet, it has to be there, right? For Liz's side special, I'm going to take a page out of Cloud here. Yeah, it's just going to be a cross slash, honestly. The reason why for this is because when Cloud first came out, his cross slash was described as like a melee Marth-esque utility. And you can even see it nowadays when you can just do the first 2 hits, not do the third one, and then do into a down air. This is a more of an ultimate thing. Not sure if it was a thing in Smash 4, but knowing how good Cloud was in Smash 4, maybe it was a thing. But the reason for this is to be the counteract to Nerissa's own side special being like Marth's Dancing Blade, but different notes, different members of her family, and all that, Just a type of toxic Yuri in there, connecting them both. In some regard, I guess. Take it how you will. But this is something I think I would like to have on that moveset of hers. Because I'm already imagining she would have to be a sort of faster swordie. Not slow, but also not too fast to make up for it. Because I had originally wanted Ike's quick draw cancel on her, then it was just gonna turn into Ike essentially. And looking at some of her moves, maybe giving her quick draw cancel would have made her a bit too much. So I think this is a much better connection, more in character type of deal. But if Liz sees this and knows what Ike quick draw cancel does and how good it is in movement, then yeah, let her have quick draw cancel, because then she could just be running circles over Nerissa. But then it just be like Sonic. No. Trust me. This is gonna be really, really freaking hilarious, honestly, if she does have it in lore and stuff like that. But let's just keep going before, once again, I start to yap. For Elizabeth Rose Bloodflame's up special, I just imagine it being a simple sword sweep going up, as most characters do have in the sword department, with some type of little bonus if you do an extra input with the special button for her to just do a flame that goes downwards, while also propelling her up the same way Ivysaur players use his down air to stall their fall. But this one would send up. Give it a bit of a spike hitbox too, or just send it diagonal. Either way, it could be nice, but maybe don't make the hitbox too much now that I think about it. Or then you could have something a bit too much, as most up Bs or up specials, in a more proper term, aren't really used as the big killer moves, only in some exceptions really. Because your up special tends to be your recovery move, and in some cases tends to be the utility move. There's cases like Ness and Incineroar where it does kill early, but that usually doesn't tend to be the case Then there's moves like Ike's Ether and Pyra's up special, where it just goes. Excuse me, it's Prominence Rolled. I just remembered as recording, where they need to grab you, right? And then they like grab you with the hit bots, hit you in that certain way, so then you can get hit by the rest of the move to kill you with. This is not one of those. It's similar to the way Shulk's up special works, but it will be a hitbot sending down the same way Pyramithra does that. So do what you will with your imagination with this one, because this is how I take it would look like. And then for her down special, it's just gonna be a generic-ish counter, but I'm gonna give it a bit of utility like melee morphs, where it doesn't really kill, it just slaps, does a fits knockback, could be good for edge guarding and not much else, because if you give her a strong counter, then giving a strong counter really isn't a make it or break it type of deal, but not having access to one like that kinda limits your options if you're reading your opponent much, because let's say you read a strong kill move and you just want to get them away from you, you can only do that sort of situation, really. Not much to do. Just have it set fits knockback and fits damage, and we'll be fine. It's not supposed to be like that. Like, Melee Morph's counter was really just like that, and it still had its utility. Like, don't get me wrong, the utility that Melee Morph's counter had, from what I've seen, does seem to be like a pretty niche good thing to have, because it's still a counter. But it really isn't the make it or break it thing, like I've said before. And if you look at many other characters, they really aren't relying on their counter unless it's Incineroar or Joker's Rebel's Guard. So I think leaving the counter here as is just enough. And I think that would wrap up the specials. So how about we go to the next section and see what's in store. Now, this section is entirely new. The Mio video and the Nerissa video did not have this at all. This isn't a new section, right? For the final smashes. And for Liz, I imagine she'd have one of these two options seen on screen. The first one being like Roy's final smash in Project M/P+, and also one of Ken's final smashes in Ultimate. Particularly the one where you don't lock in someone to do the whole Evo Moment 37 thing. And as for the second one, it would just be her summoning a huge-ass flame behind her, hence the name, big-ass flame. So, it just kind of works with itself there. And I do have some visual cue for the final smash that the Roy has in Project M right here. That's how I imagine it would look like. Because Ken's, he just kind of does a Shoryuken, and that's about it. And as for the big-ass flame, I think this is the more likely one because it's a big-ass flame. If it were if the Ken or Roy variants of that final smash I just showed, I think it would be like a, big tower instead of, just a big-ass flame. So I think the second one kind of fits the name better. But in terms of the cool factor, maybe the first one, as she could put her sword on the ground and then let the entire thing, set on fire. Even though on the sketch I have her putting it up, just like Ken's final smash. Whereas for her other option, she would be raising her arms up like the Elmo meme of him being behind the fire. And that's just all that I've got for this. But she did say that Big Ass Flame is going to be her ult. I did ask someone on the Elizabeth Rose Bloodflame Discord if there was a way for us to know how it would look like. And he just told me it can be pretty much anything, as there's not official confirmed sources for it. So this move is definitely a wait until there's like an official source, if there will ever be one. And if not, I'll just put a timestamp recording on the screen to show when this audio was recorded and video was being edited before being put on Premiere on YouTube. But never mind the final Smash issue now, as that can be easily remedied with official sources. Let's just see some closing thoughts on this whole little adventure we've had, you and I. Now, I've actually run out of footage to show you for this scripts and stuff, so just take these visual cues. For Elizabeth Rose Bloodflame, her default is obviously her own outfit, and then the other three outfits would be Cecilia, Gigi, and Raora, because, you know, Justice. Then as for costume number 5, let it be Nerissa. Like, come on. It's right there. And Toxic Yuri moment. And then as for costumes number 6 and 7, I was thinking it'd be Takanashi Kiara and Ceres Fauna due to recent interactions with them. But since Fauna looks a bit too similar to Cecilia in terms of what a green alt would look like, I was thinking not to, but then I realized, oh, there are many Smash outfits that look almost the same, so why the heck not? And for number 8, you could say maybe Shiori, because she's the leader of Advent, and Advent is what Justice is trying to avoid, right? So why not instead just let her have a Santa outfit, or this outfit from this clip?
Give me a big hug.
Yeah. There's a lot of fun stuff going on in Christmas time during the time of this recording on Elizabeth Rose Bloodflame's channel. So, honestly, just keep those costumes. The Santa one, leave it more as a how much impact is Liz gonna do in the rest of the years in Christmas? Like, is she gonna go this hard on Christmas again, or was this just a one-time thing? But honestly, I would like her to have the Santa alt bit as an outfit. And the reason I showed a clip of her in the skeleton costume is just because she was doing a lot of her 3D singing in that costume first. So that could also just be an option for her costumes, you know? It just kind of fits. Now that we've talked about the skins for Elizabeth Rose Bloodflame, I would just want to say again, as I've said many times in the video, she would play as a not too fast, not too slow swordie with some kill power. Not specific places to kill like Corrin, which could make her a bit more on the simpler side of things. But depending on the game you put her in, it could be easy to give her some more actions per minute that complicate the difficulty. Because Justice is harder to achieve than Chaos and Evil of what Advent likes to do, you know? And if you made it far enough into the video, thank you, and sorry for running out of footage, so enjoy this Elizabeth PNG render. And this could also be, design-wise, just a bunch of bias from me personally because of swordie user moment, instead of just actual design philosophies. So, yeah. I hope you all enjoy the video. And hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more. Because I'm thinking of doing Raora of all people. Because I saw that she has claws and I was like, you know what? Give every claw-like move to her and then we'll figure out the rest. You know, like claw moves that are in Smash. So, yeah, figure that out as it goes. Good night, everybody.